we're back. Yeah, this is Dem Drop Close to Delta Green. We got Frankie. We got a ham hock. I don't know what position they are on your screen. Over there somewhere. There you go. See there. Right. So last time, what did we do? Not much. We're in a motel. What are we going to do? We're going to go and meet someone at midnight. Ooh, very secret squirrel. Let's go.
Ted. So yeah, you were meeting at Steve's place midnight. Possible friend.
In hindsight, that was a terrible place to meet. But say that way.
It's the only bar that's open at that time.
Also, we only went around. We didn't go in that time. The time that we don't speak about, we didn't actually go in, so it's fine.
Yeah, the car disappeared from outside.
Could have been towed.
So what's the problem?
There's no problem. No problem at all.
Why didn't we check if it got towed?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we should have done that. Oh well.
Oh, then we would have been connected to the body. Oh, but they won't know who the body is.
I knock on Pat's door. Pat, come on, it's time to go to the bar.
I come out in my new suit, looking like Miami Vice.
Stinking like a bar. Stinking like a bar already.
Throwing all the tools back in the duffel bag. And I'm off.
Yeah. So
cool.
Go down, get in the car.
Got a digit in me top pocket, sort of like half poking out.
It's late. It's not like super quiet. It's like you're off a not far off a main freeway anyway, but it's a typical kind of half 11 kind of traffic. You make your way over, cutting through 4th Avenue West, going north up to where Steve's place is, just north of the. It's not a million miles away from the medical examiner, but it's kind of north of the golf course. Typically, it would have been a friendly bar, but now the bar is just associated with hyper violence. So yeah, that's great.
But why? It never happened in a bar.
My mistake.
How about violence? Yeah, no, not really.
If you're passing by in the car, you can see there's a couple of punters in there at the bar, and Steve himself. And not a fat lot going on. There's some sports on repeat over the bar. It's not a big place. It's your atypical drop in. Probably it closes up when he feels like closing it.
Has he got a pool table?
Yeah, there's a pool table in there.
Perfect.
So we've got park up across the street.
Yep.
And saunter, and I do mean saunter in.
So there's a couple of guys, a bit of a tubby guy on the left hand side. On the right hand side of the bar, sitting there with a water is Ted. He's got a satchel with him that's wrapped around his shoulder, and he's just thumbing through his phone. What time is it when you walk in? Is it exactly 12?
So about 10 to.
Yeah, a little bit early.
So he's there. He looks worn out. He sees you guys and beckons you over to a table away from the bar. Just nods over.
The summon nod.
The summon nod, yeah. You both see that he's carrying a concealed weapon under his jacket, or not so concealed because you can see it. You can see it, but you've been around the block enough to know that he's carrying.
So
I'll do a quick survey of the bar, other players, see if they're carrying, general.
Yeah, it's not a big. The pool table down on the left, down by the toilets. Next to the toilets, there's a door which goes out into what you assume is kind of the kitchen, kind of clean-up area. You're familiar with the back door there. And then you got the bar, which is longish. It's kind of 8 tables long. It's all nice. It's kind of like wood, brass stools, and there's 5 or 6 tables out in front. It's not a very deep bar, but you can get further enough away to have a conversation without being eavesdropped by Steve at the bar. He nods, and he doesn't really look that bothered that you don't go up and order a drink. He's kind of, just don't.
I was about to say I go via the bar and get 3 whiskies before I go and sit down.
Hey,
3 beers.
3 whiskies, 3 beers. It gives you 3 little schooners and a couple of reasonable shots. And he just says, "Pay when you leave, boys. If you want something else, just let me know, okay?"
And the other punters in the bar, you said there's a couple of punters. They're kosher.
Yeah, there's one other punter who's propping up the bar at the bottom of the other end of the bar. From what you can see, he's just a salary man, just pondering
Japanese.
life, flicking through.
I get very. My paranoia level goes through the roof. I'm like, shit, they followed me.
Dirty, loose suit. It's not FBI kind of issue. He's knackered, sweaty, and he's having a beer and he's flicking through his phone. Ted is look. He's changed his clothes since you last saw him. He looks like he's freshened up. Maybe he looks exhausted, but he's wearing a sweater, dark sweater, jeans, trainers, a lot more casual. He's wearing a jacket over the top of his sweater.
So I'll walk over with the drinks to the booth.
He says it's difficult to know who to trust, and if you did, you'd know that this is normal protocol, but I did a little checkup on you guys.
Yeah,
so you might have the station and the office asking about, telling you that someone made some inquiries, but that's just usual protocol. You know how it is. So
yeah, but don't worry, no hard feelings.
So Evelyn's in hospital still. She's still being kept under. My team swapped out at 10 p.m. and there's 3 guys in there. I trust them explicitly. Some of them are friends of mine. It's been quiet, but as I suggested to you in the hospital, I don't think all is very good. Not for the company particularly, but for Evelyn. Like I said, I've had suspicions for a little while that the company has been she's been working for the very high-paying client, but it's been very hush-hush. Only she's been working on it. It's all been very clandestine and kind of need to know, and things like that put me on edge. And while the company likes the money, I had been kind of putting some information aside just to make sure that we cover our asses in the case of anything going awry. First things first, what have you come up with, and what's your connection to Evelyn?
So we've been investigating a death. You have to understand me being pretty delicate with this. We've been working with a couple of different agencies on something quite sensitive. I don't know how much more I can say. Trust is, a real concern.
Absolutely. Well, for a start, you don't know me from Adam. I'm out there. You can find information about me. I presume you already have. I'd rather cut to the chase a little bit. I had a little bit more time this afternoon just to kind of gather a bit of info that I had in my home office, and to also do a bit of digging from home. And I want to cooperate fully with you guys in the agency. I'm worried that this is like a whole lot bigger than we can handle alone. But I'm worried that it might stretch a lot further than just kind of the regular outlets. He pulls his satchel out and he pops a paper folder full of odds and ends on the table in front of you. These bits and pieces are rapidly assembled, but my line of work. We've got people we can call on. We've got avenues that we can pursue, and also we've got an eye for things that might be a little bit bizarre or risky. He opens the cream-coloured folder, and the first one has got his notes at the top, and the first set of words that say at the top are potential holdings. He opens it and looks in the eyes of both of you for a reaction.
Nothing.
Doesn't get one. So he goes on. So these guys, the only address we've got is a post office box in Washington, DC. They reported about $300 million in income last year. And he turns another page, and there's like a printout of tax returns, and it looks like a bank statement, but it doesn't look familiar to you guys.
It's not the same one we saw then.
No, not at all. This one looks like it's been put together kind of on his desktop or something.
So we can't see it in and out. So the bank statement, we can't see whose it is, just numbers.
No, it's just numbers. And it looks like it's taken a scan from somewhere and put it into a spreadsheet and then printed it. He goes on. It has one employee, Robert Justin Ortega, PhD. And he turns a page and he's got a few notes there. This guy, have you heard of him? He's kind of a big thing, I suppose. He owns a company called Anseal, which does next generation armor, like Titan weave armor, which is like 2 times stronger than Kevlar but half the weight. And you recognize the name Anseal as being kind of to do like as being a shield in mythology. He turns another page and he goes on to say, look, the post office box is paid by someone else though. Now bear in mind, Potentia are the people who I think were hiring Wells. But the post office is paid by a law firm called Marcus Silverman and Green, which is also in Washington, DC. They've got an office. And the phone calls that came into our office came from that law firm. So it suggests that this law firm, Marcus Silverman and Green, are the face of Potentia Holdings. Doesn't seem too weird on the face of it. But they all came from the private line of a single person, Aaron Silverman, who's a lawyer there. At this point, he looks at you guys for a reaction. Doesn't get one. You recall that Aaron Silverman was the name that was the only name that you managed to glean from Tilbert's paperwork.
The PO box, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Now, Aaron Silverman is a lawyer at Marcus Silverman and Green. Belton turns a page again, and you can see, he doesn't say it, but he turns and shows it to you. He's assembled the social security numbers of all those involved. So Silverman, Marcus and Green, and also Robert Justin Ortega. And he's got printouts of their driver's licenses as well. He says, don't ask me where I got them from, but I'm sure this will be of some help to you. Like I said, I've hired men using my own money to look after Evelyn because I don't believe this is the end of it. She was asked to do some monitoring of Greaves's house, and that's in the Mill Creek area. And we don't quite know. I don't quite know what she was looking for or what she had to report back. But the money was huge, and the information was scant. And we don't normally take on jobs which are like that. They tend to be a lot more transparent. We don't work for federal agencies or for the CIA, or we tend to be quite a clean agency. This is.
And sorry to interrupt. And Dino, what does he know about all this?
What specifically?
Does he know all about this? Is he, as far as we're aware, he's just an owning partner right now? Or do you think this might have come from him?
You mean it might have come from you as police officers? Sorry, as agents, you're questioning whether the instruction might have come from him.
For him to tell Wells to do this job, to keep it away from you. You obviously have a keen eye for something that's not right. Dino's there for the money. Is the money part of your organisation, no?
Yeah, sure. He was a very hard worker though back in the day. He hired me, and we built the company for quite a while. And he's quite right to step back and just take his paycheck.
I'm just covering all angles here, sir. Honestly,
I think what my partner's trying to say is, who put Evelyn onto the job? Was she contacted by Potential Holdings, or do you know how she actually came to work on this job?
I don't know. I think Potential Holdings contacted her directly, but because of the security involved in the information, the partners were not privy to it. But the amount of money they were asking us to take for whether we were laundering it for them, I don't know. But the amount of money that they asked us to take to put Evelyn on the case, it kept the business running when we had those troughs in between periods of high activity, and that continued. It wasn't it was regular, but it wasn't frequent, and only Evelyn got direct communications, and he turns the page, and in there is Dino, Belton and Wells invoicing and subsequent statement with the payments from Potential Holdings.
any small green triangles?
No. You so he goes on to say we ran I want to keep Evelyn safe. I'm worried that this is never going to go away because it just seems like this organisation are, well, secretive. I can't go hunting them down and finding out who might be responsible. My gut feeling is it's them. It seems highly unusual that she's being targeted. This is the only job that of this nature where she's singled out to work on. And our business has been targeted, but to add insult to injury, I went to access the files we've got in storage in the cloud, and so everything's backed up that we do, and I can't get access to anything, and what I can do is basically a mess of ruined data. So photographs they've all got a head of corruption to them. They've got like the broken icons that you'll get when you're trying your best to download photos.
So you've been hacked.
Our files have been ravaged, and the files didn't get blown up in the fire. They didn't get shot at in a restaurant. They are secure, and someone's been in there.
You've been hacked to death.
So one thing that I'm not really understanding, you don't seem to be at all concerned about your Dino's safety in this. Seems to me like if someone is trying to tie up loose ends like you're suggesting, that you very much are a loose end as well.
Unlike Evelyn, who is guarded in a bed, I can look after myself. I can leave the hospital. I can make sure I'm not being tailed. I kind of keep an eye out for things. I've been in the military and police department before. Nothing specialist particularly, but I know to keep myself in public places. I know to make sure I'm not tailed, and even if I'm not being tailed, make sure I'm losing anyone who might be better than me.
I'm glad to hear that you're looking out for yourself as well. That's good.
I don't like being away from the hospital, but I need to put things in perspective, and I just if your case is revealing that Evelyn might be involved in something, that just maybe firms up my suspicions that something's a little bit deeper. Have you got anything you could share? Is there anything I can help with? I want to. I don't know where. I don't quite know where to turn now, to be honest.
In terms of sharing, it's probably just going to be the beer and the whiskey that I've got for you. We'll do everything we can to try and make sure that whatever's going on here ends well for everyone. You know, the last thing we want to see is, you know, innocent people, particularly, you know, people like yourselves, you know, getting wound up in this. But it might be a good idea just to, you know, lay low, because, you know, in the unlikely event that what you're saying is true, you're probably in a lot of danger as well.